A growing number of Republicans are joining Democrats, calling for a full investigation into the killing of Alex Preddy by Border Patrol agents in Minneapolis.
What we're seeing on TV is causing deep concerns over federal tactics and accountability.
Senator Bill Cassidy calling the situation disturbing, writing the credibility of ICE and DHS are at stake. Senator Lisa Murkowski adding, ICE agents do not have carte blanche in carrying out their duties. Others taking issue with how quickly the Trump administration made an assessment, labeling Preddy a domestic terrorist without providing any evidence. John Mitnick, who served in President Trump's first term and helped establish the Department of Homeland Security, criticizing the agency, saying, I'm enraged and embarrassed by DHS's lawlessness, fascism, and cruelty. But top Trump officials continue to double down. FBI Director Kash Patel suggested it is illegal to bring a gun to a protest.
You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple.
Overnight, President Trump telling the Wall Street Journal he doesn't like any shooting, adding, quote, but I don't like it when somebody goes into a protest and he's got a very powerful, fully loaded gun with 2 magazines loaded up with bullets also. That doesn't play good either. It's a stark contrast to what many Republicans, including the president, had to say about Kyle Rittenhouse, seen here carrying an assault-style rifle through Kenosha, Wisconsin in 2020, before opening fire, killing 2 men. He was acquitted on the charges. President Trump called him a very nice young man. Minnesota officials say Preddy was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry, a right protected under the Second Amendment. Republican Congressman Thomas Massie posting, carrying a firearm is not a death sentence. It's a constitutionally protected God-given right. The NRA even speaking out, posting, responsible public voices should be awaiting a full investigation, not making generalizations and demonizing law-abiding citizens. The president's predecessors calling for it all to stop. Former President Barack Obama said the shooting should be a wake-up call to every American. And former President Bill Clinton stating, at every turn the people in charge have lied to us, told us not to believe what we've seen with our own eyes. And over on Capitol Hill, Senate Democrats are now trying to take a stand, saying they will oppose a Department of Homeland Security funding bill that could lead to a partial government shutdown by the end of the week, which means TSA agents and FEMA response would be impacted. But regardless, it will do nothing to stop the $75 billion that Republicans have already passed and allocated toward funding ICE.
Shalom, first and foremost. I want to give all praise, glory, and the highest honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak, Kodash, double honor to elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to hopeful elect of Hebrew Israelites. This is Brother Araki coming back with a lesson. And, reacting to this is actually old news already. Okay? About 1 week ago. Even older. Sometime in January, and you had 2 cases in Minnesota of ICE agents shooting Edomite-looking people. And the first one, her name was Renee Good. The second was Alex Preddy or Preddy, and there was a post by the brother Azan Ahmad. He even made the point that you see, pretty good. He had some community post, how is ICE handling operations in Minnesota. Pretty good. Okay, so they both might be staged. You know how it is with videos nowadays with AI and CGI, computer generated images.
How can I help?
You cannot help. Fucking Satan trying to intervene. These demons, man. AI, just that you can see that's the spirit, man. I was just speaking about AI, how they're using it for staging shit and stuff like that. Not saying it is, but saying it might be those 2 cases. Just as I'm saying it, the fucking AI of this chariot started to speak. How can I help? You see, man. So the AI that's a demon, man. Intelligence. That's what demon means. Intelligence. Okay, Daniel 5:28. Perez, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Now, this is talking about the ancient Babylon, okay, because the Persians and the Medes took it over. But I'm qualifying it, you know, using it for current Babylon in a way that, you know, current Babylon, yes, also it is divided, you know, America, and given to Medes and Persians, which, you know, scripturally, in some cases, Medes, I believe it's Isaiah, either chapter Isaiah 13 or chapter 34, whereas the Medes is going into the Russians. So the Russians are not going to occupy the land of America, but they're going to be shooting their missiles to America. So in a way, their kingdom is given to the Medes and Persians in that way. You know, like I said, it's talking about the ancient Babylon, but, you know, qualifying it, can also use it for the current Babylon. Okay, Matthew 11:25, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every man, so like every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And you see America, that's, you know, the Republicans, the Democrats, that's a crazy division, man. Okay. Cannot stand. There's unbelievable division. Verse 26, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Okay, it shall not. Mark 3:24, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Luke 11:17, but he, knowing their thoughts, said unto them, every kingdom again divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falleth. So a Babylon gonna fall, man. If Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? Because he say that I cast out devils through Beelzebub. So, hey, the thing is, man, the scriptures speak about agree with your adversaries quickly. Now, I saw some videos, maybe not all, maybe not the best angles, but I saw some videos of that, of both, you know, so-called Rene Good, so-called Alex Preddy things. You know, neither of them was obeying the authorities, man, which is the, you know, Gestapo group called ICE, you know, ghost police. You know. So hey, you gotta play it. You gotta be wiser than that. Why would you buck up against them? Now there was a situation that the Alex Preddy, one video I saw, there was a woman, you know, just, you know, hey. The woman gave the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. But there was some woman that was, you know, harassing the ICE agents, or vice versa. But there was an altercation with the woman and the ICE agents, and then that man Alex Preddy went in between and, you know, wanted to, you know, defend that woman, and, you know, pretty much started to wrestle. You know, pretty much it got you know, somewhat physical with the ICE agents, and then the ICE agents, which they were 3, 4, 5 in that situation, maybe 6, they then turned against Alex Preddy, and he's struggling. I mean, this is the thing, like, why would you be, you know, seeking altercations, and you know, I understand that it seems, you know, from what I've seen and heard, that he was disarmed before he was shot. But why would you go to that situation, you know, carrying a weapon, okay, fully loaded weapon? Why would you do that, man? That's unbelievably stupid. Okay, so he loved danger. He that loves danger. That's a beautiful scripture, man, because it also goes into, man, loves. He that Let me see. I gotta find that scripture, man. Yeah, this is the one. Sirach 3:26. A stubborn heart shall fare evil at the last, and he that loveth danger shall perish therein. You know, this is also going in the hand. If you live by the sword, you shall die by the sword. You know, in these times, you gotta be very careful how you move. You know, first of all, why would you go into a protest in the first place? You know, that's, you know, and then carrying a fully loaded firearm, then trying to wrestle, you know, get into these altercations, you know, it's getting scrappy with the ICE agents. You know, you're trying to, you know, wrestle them. You know, I mean, you're tempting the Lord at that point. Okay, you're loving danger at that point. Okay, not saying it still would be justified, but you know that you're in a danger zone, and you know that that thing might happen. So why would you put yourself in that situation, man? You see? So this is also an example for us how not to be. Okay, we're supposed to avoid these crowded, you know, gatherings, you know, these protests, these riots, these what is it called? It's called manifestations, right? You know, these protests or these riots, you know, these uprisings. You know, you shouldn't, these uproars of the people, you shouldn't be in those places, in those crowded places, man. Those are very unpredictable, very potentially dangerous places. You know, very random ass, you know, environments, man. Why would you involve yourself with something like that? You know, at that point you're tempting the Lord, you're loving danger. It's not good. Okay, even Yahushua said to Satan, you know, thou shalt not tempt the Lord. You know, Satan said, hey, jump off the cliff, you know, the angel's gonna carry you. But Yahushua said, you know, you shouldn't tempt the Lord, man. So that's the thing, man. We gotta play it safe. You know, now it's a different thing when we got the spiritual powers, you know, Lord willing, we receive them. At the end, that's a different story. But you know, until then, you know, play it cool, calm, collected, man. Just taking it easy, man, one day at a time. But hey, you see, Babylon divided as all hell, coming down soon. Okay, or going down soon, man. All praise Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahushai B'Hashem Chakadash. Double honor to elders and pastors of Great Millstone. Let's on to the next one. Shalom.